Very good morning to the Gelding, and races back at Caulfield today. Gelding, Zipping Classic Day. You'll be a Monty to be there, won't you?
Good morning, Professor. Good morning, listeners. Professor was thinking about going to Zipping Classic Day and inviting yourself until I saw the gouging from the very amateur turf club. Black caviar room price is $325. The silver area and the tiered dining area, $255, Professor. And then I thought, do I want to be a monkey behind before, I have a drink or a bet, where I can get probably just as good as food from the fishmonger down in Bentley, Professor. And, so decided against it. So I'll be watching him from the comfort of home, Professor.
All right. Well, the first race is 12:35 Gelding. It's a 9-race card, and as I said, the feature race, the weight for age Group 2 Zipping Classic over 2,400 metres, valued at $750,000. A big history on the Zipping Classic, Gelding. We've been through this before when I looked it up. It started life out as the Williamstown Cup, and it was run at the Williamstown Racecourse.
Yes, Professor, and I was going to ask you another question. Zipping Classic as the Williamstown Cup is fine, started as the Williamstown, but didn't Zipping win all 3 Zipping Classics at Sandown?
Well, Gelding, it was actually 4, and yes, it was when it was called the Sandown Classic.
And I do notice race 2 today is the Sandown Cup, and race 8, of course, is the Sandown Guineas. Why isn't this meeting at Sandown, Professor?
Gelding, please don't ask silly questions.
Professor, why are the very amateur turf club closing Caulfield for 6 months and digging up a track to put in a second track that no one wants?
Well, that's why these races that would normally be at Sandown are at Caulfield today, Gelding, I would imagine.
No, they were at Caulfield last year, Professor.
Oh, were they? Yeah, but wasn't Sandown closed last year?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, it all makes sense to somebody, Gelding, obviously.
Hasn't the very amateur turf club put 2 photo finishes at 2 finish lines at Sandown now?
I don't know. Have they?
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Oh, at Caulfield, not at Sandown.
No, they put the second one at Sandown. Sandown will have 2 finishing lines next time it starts.
Oh, look,
on Boxing Day.
I'll be excited for that, Gelding.
Hey? Can you imagine a jockey getting it wrong?
Oh, that wouldn't happen, would it?
Nah. Hey?
Anyway, Gelding, listen, there's been some great horses won the Zipping Classic. Light Fingers, Gunsin, Baghdad Note. There's some champions of the Australian turf.
Yes, some absolute legends of the turf there, and I think most of them won them at Sandown when it was open in 66 or 65, Professor.
That's right, Gelding.
Hey?
That's right, Gelding. And Zipping not only won 4 Sandown Classics, it also won the Turnbull, the Australasian Cup, and the Moonee Valley Cup. So it had a terrific career.
Placed in a couple of Cox Plates as well, Professor. So a horse you'd like to own.
Oh, definitely, Gelding, definitely. All right. Without further ado, what are your 2 best bets for today's race meeting at Caulfield, Gelding?
Well, Professor, as I texted you last night, I was having a look through, doing a bit of form, and I thought it was a pretty open race meeting, Professor. So I've gone a bit left field today. As I said to you, my first tip is in the Doveton Stakes, formerly 1,000 metres, formerly run at Sandown. Race 3, number 1, Bruckner. Now, this horse is trained by Ma and Eustace. As you know, we're certainly on the Ma Eustace bandwagon, Professor, and being ridden by Johnny Allen, who's returned from overseas. Bruckner. Now, this horse has not raced for over 12 months, Professor. Its last start, it ran second to Home Affairs in the Coolmore Stakes Day on Derby Day 2021. So obviously something's gone wrong with the horse. But I'm happy to back the Mar Eustace team with the comeback of this horse, Professor, because I don't think they'll be racing a 4-year-old stallion by Snitzel that has run, which has run second in the Coolmore Stakes. Like the horse has had 6 starts for 2 wins, 1 second and 2 thirds. And, those place gettings have been in Group 1, Group 2 races, Professor. So if this horse is half right, I think it should be winning, Professor. And look, $5 at the moment, I just think a good each way chance, Professor.
Yeah, good each way odds there, Gelding. Plenty of value for punters.
The second bet, Professor, I've gone race 5, number 8, Norwegian Bliss, trained by New South Wales trainer Nathan Doyle. I don't know a lot about Nathan Doyle, but the horse is to be ridden by the very much informed Blake Shin at the moment, Professor, who's come back from Hong Kong and is starting to really fire now. My little quirks and theories, Professor. A horse that's had 7 starts and has had 7 wins, it's good enough for me to be backing. It is favourite. It ran about the 250. Its last start, it won a benchmark 84. So a good class race. It's been undefeated. This is its biggest test, Professor. A horse like Streets of Avalon, 1400 over Caulfields. It's pet distance and pet track. And it is a Group 1 winner there, Professor. So you've got the top weight being a Group 1 winner against a horse that's rising up in the grades, but it may well be Streets of Avalon may not be as good as he used to be. Again, a fantastic horse and one you would love to own and has been tremendous. But as it's now, Professor is a rising 8-year-old. I'm happy to back the up-and-coming horse here, Professor. It's a 5-year-old mare, 7 starts, as I said, 7 wins. That'll do me, Professor. So let's
winning form's good form, Gelding.
Yeah, well, it is a bit short. If I was the punters, I would be waiting till later in the day, closer to the race, because I think it'll drift out because of up the top of the weights. You've got some very good horses, Professor, proven horses. So hopefully we might get a bit better than the 250 on offer at the moment.
Fair enough, Gelding.
And you like, Professor?
Yeah, Gelding, I'm going a little bit later than you. My first tip of the day is in race 6, the Eclipse Stakes, a Group 3 race over 1,800 metres. I like in that race, Gelding, horse 9, French Emperor, coming out of barrier 8. It's had 13 starts for 5 wins and 2 placings, so a 38% win rate, a 54% place rate. Gelding, I've taken your guide on form. This horse has won its last 3 races. Last time out at Flemington on the 5th of November. It beat a tip that I gave to the punters on that day, Castlereagh Kid. So I'm thinking it can reverse. Very good odds for punters at the moment. Gelding, you can get 650 and 230. So even at a placing, that's just like a win.
Yes, Professor. I do like the tip. A very, very open race. Again, a horse like Grand Slam up the top, good form, but maybe off the boil. And here you've got informed trainers in Mick Price, on a horse that's won its last 3 starts. Interesting to see Jamie Cartwright at the last 3 starts, Professor.
Yeah, Paddy Maloney's on it today.
Yeah, well, we do, as you well know, we do like Paddy Maloney.
We do.
And riding very well after coming second in the Melbourne Cup, Professor.
Yes, and
So,
couldn't go past Mick Price, a former trainer of one of our horses, Gelding.
and maybe some more news on that front, Professor.
Well, maybe. You and I have got to have a discussion during the week about what we might do with funds that we've accumulated for GM racing.
In the high risk money market, Professor.
Very high risk money market, Gelding. All right. My second choice is in race 8, the Sandown Guineas, being run at Caulfield. Go figure that out. 3-year-old Group 2 race. In this one, Gelding, I like horse 3, the Fortune Teller. Might be able to tell my fortune here. Coming out of barrier 8, 5 starts for a win and 2 placings. So a 20% win rate, a 60% place rate. Gelding, this horse ran 7th in the Group 1 Caulfield Guineas. But what I liked about the race, even though it only finished 7th, is that it raced 3 wide without cover for most of the race. And with 200 metres to go, it was actually leading the field and just weakened over the last 200 and ran 7th. But if it has a better ride today, I'm sure that it'll be up there when it needs to be. And at $4 and $1.80, it's too good to go past. Johnny Allen's in the saddle, and I'm using your theory on trainers, Gelding. Mar Eustace can't go past that either.
Oh, Professor, I like it. As I said to you off air, it was the one I was looking at. I really like this race, the Sandown Guineas, Professor. A good 3-year-old normally wins it, and it's normally worthwhile following that horse when it goes into the into its 4-year-old seasons, Professor. And this horse has been thereabouts, and if it wins this race and takes the next step, that may not be the only time it's picked on in That's Racing, Professor, for going on. So I very much like your tips today, especially this one. As you said, Mar Eustace, good form in Group 1 races. It's been running in group races, but I will say you're getting the nice odds because this is a very open type of race, Professor. So I will say to listeners, keep a note of all the place getters as well as the winner, and you won't do yourself any disharmony by backing them in the future.
All right, Gelding. So my selections for today: race 6, horse 9, French Emperor, and race 8, horse 3, the Fortune Teller. Now turning to the Professor's Parlay, which, Gelding?
Very, very successful Professor's Parlay.
We would have been very, very successful, Gelding, but for being beaten by the shortest of margins.
Yeah, I know. It was
Detonator Jack.
Well,
defeat was snatched out of the jaws of victory, Gelding.
Well, Professor, can I ask you this? Did the jockey stop riding it? And did he get caught out wide? This thing just flew home out wide on the better going where he should have been. But I think the jockey, once he went through,
thought he was home, Gelding.
He just kind of thought, you little beauty, we're there. It's a very good horse, Detonator Jack, and I'll certainly be following it. And I don't think it was the horse's fault it got beaten, Professor.
Oh, well, Gelding. Anyway,
your thoughts?
My thoughts were that it ruined the Professor's Parlay because the other two selections saluted. So we were the closest of margins to getting there.
To me, Professor.
What was that, Gelding?
That was a bit different to the text you sent to me after the race.
I might have been more critical last week, Gelding.
Oh, you're very forgiving, Professor.
No, I haven't forgiven, Gelding. You'll notice I haven't picked John Allen on any of the tips for me today.
Isn't he on the Fortune Teller?
Oh, yes, he is. Sorry.
And I've got him on Bruckner.
Oh, well, we've doubly forgiven him, Gelding. And how's this for a segue? The agreed bet of the day, race 8, horse 3, the Fortune Teller, ridden by. Yeah.
Do you think he owes us one?
We've gone back to him, Gelding.
Does he owe us one, Professor?
Oh, I think he does.
Okay.
I think he does. He probably watches, Gelding. He'll be on his he'll be on his way to the track now, thinking I've got to get up for those guys.
Oh, I think he might be, and he might be saying, "Geez, I'm lucky I'm actually riding, and the stewards let me off quite easily."
I didn't see that in the report at all, Gelding.
No, there was nothing in the stewards report.
No.
John Allen missed the horse coming down the outside.
So we'll parlay the fortune teller Gelding into some NFL matches. The Miami Dolphins at home, who have had a much improved season this year, they're fifth in the AFC at the moment, won 7 from 10. They've got a terrific points differential, Gelding, plus 111, so they know how to score and to beat the very, very disappointing Houston Texans, who are last in the AFC. Only won one game, Gelding, a points differential of minus 71. So at $1.11, I think it's a good bet for the parlay. And then parlay that into Kansas City at home, who've hardly put a foot wrong all year. They're first in the AFC, 8 wins from 10 starts, a points differential of plus 67 to beat the very disappointing LA Rams. Gelding, they're the Super Bowl title holders at the moment.
Yep.
They've only won 3 games, Gelding. What's happened to their season?
Oh, celebrating like Collingwood when they won 1990, didn't they? Might have over-celebrated.
Over-celebrated, Gelding. Points differential of minus 59, which wouldn't have been the case last year. And they don't have their quarterback because he's out injured.
Yeah.
So the parlay, Gelding, showing the juicy odds of 5-1. So if we can get that up, that'll be a very good day for us.
I like it, Professor. And KC, just Patrick Mahomes, just fantastic form. Is the game of the season going to be the AFC Championship, Professor? Kansas City Chiefs, possibly the Bills?
Yeah, it's probably, they can't play each other for the big one, Gelding. So, and it'll probably be played at Kansas City too. So they'll have home field advantage.
Oh, looking forward to it, Professor.
Now, Gelding, the Socceroos.
Oh.
Leading 1-0, surprisingly.
Fantastically getting the first score. We talked about this last week on Sportsman Radio, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Wasn't the consensus going to be the coach was going to stack the back line?
Park the bus.
Hey?
Yeah, park the bus.
Now, didn't watch all the game, but watched a bit of the game. I didn't see much. Like, the French seemed to open us up quite easily, Professor, and
they found a lot of space, Gelding.
Well, yeah, it didn't. The way we were talking Sunday didn't kind of match the game plan, I don't think. So
no, at times I thought we only had 8 or 9 players on the field. The French seem to have that so much room to move around in.
Yeah, they certainly ran more both ways, didn't they, Professor, than Australia, and that's why I thought they would have had a lot more players camp behind the ball, and especially after leading 1-0, Professor.
Well, the French had in excess of 70% possession, Gelding, and that's a recipe for disaster. You can't give a skilled team that much possession of the football.
Well,
going to score.
I thought the 4-1 was lucky, Professor. In the bit I was watching, there was a couple off the post, a couple of near misses, and in fairness, Gelding,
it could have been 4-2 because we had a header that hit the post. The French goalkeeper wouldn't have saved it. So we could have at least had 2 goals, but only 1. But hey, at least we scored, Gelding. We've struggled to do that in open play in other World Cups.
Puts a bit of pressure on the game coming up against Tunisia, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. None of these games are going to be easy, so it'll be interesting to watch that one, Professor.
All right, Gelding. Well, no Sports Fan Radio tomorrow. Some electrical work going on at my place, so I won't have any power to run the show. So
no,
we're taking a week off, but you won't be back for the rest of the Sports Fan Radio season.
No, Professor. I'll be missing the following week due to a very important commitment, Professor.
Oh, well, those things happen, Gelding.
Hey?
Those things
Wedding
happen.
Anniversaries, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
Unfortunately, that has to take pride of place, Professor.
It certainly does, Gelding. All right, well, until next Saturday, it's good luck.
and good punting.